I'm Stacey May Fowles, and I'm going to read Chapter 1 from my novel, Infidelity. Ronnie knew the moment she saw Charlie that she would follow him somewhere. It didn't really matter where, she just knew it would happen sooner or later, that one day she would desert everything important and chase him down, and that somehow it would be worth it. Ronnie wasn't the kind of girl who had felt that way about anyone. Ronnie was the kind of girl who rarely felt anything. Since she was young, Ronnie had always been quite skilled at numbing herself to external influence. She was wearing a short black strapless dress and open-toed shoes despite the fact it was the middle of a Toronto December. Her legs were bare, and every time the front door on the two-story annex house swung open to let another reveler in, she would shiver slightly. Ronnie never dressed this way, generally wore blue jeans, beat-up brown boots, t-shirts, and cardigans, but Aaron had asked her to dress up. She had styled her short brown hair when normally she would have simply let it dry after the shower. She had put on perfume from the old bottle she found in the back of the medicine cabinet behind a row of prescription medication, a bottle that was a gift from Aaron 2 Christmases ago. The party, a university affair full of scholars and students and twinkled with tinsel and blinking white lights. Everyone betrayed the slightest hint of discomfort, straining to have conversations with people they couldn't conceal their contempt for. They were drinking heavily to ease into the situation, and as the night wore on, discomfort evolved into inappropriateness. Ronnie felt the burning stare of lechery on the hem of her dress and the curve of her cleavage. Standing alone, far from the mistletoe that was trapping and tormenting some of the female guests, Ronnie tipped back a third glass of red wine and lamented agreeing to come. 3 glasses of wine meant she was drunk. She had come for Aaron, who needed help carrying the many platters of food he'd prepared for the party. It was money, and they needed money more than ever now. Aaron was firmly set in his planning for the future mode and was taking every extra catering job that came his way, even if it meant Ronnie had to assist. "You'll have a great time, Ronnie, I promise. These are smart people, like smart famous people." Ronnie wondered if there was such a thing as smart famous people. The glossy pages of the magazine at the hair salon where she worked always suggested otherwise. When her glass was empty again, she decided to go for a fourth. She saw him across the room. Through the maze of tweed coats, pencil skirts, and loud Christmas cheer, she spotted him slowly chewing something and staring blankly into the bottom of his whiskey tumbler. He was a robust, rosy, bearded man with a slightly timid and mostly awkward look on his face. He looked decidedly lost, as if he might get swept away by the bumping shoulders of stodgy academics and earnest, doe-eyed students. Despite his confused expression, it appeared that all eyes were on him. Ronnie overheard people whispering about him with a sense of awe, glad to be in his company, yet afraid to approach him. He was scanning the titles on a bookshelf when an angular and severe-looking blonde with a blunt bang haircut and red-rimmed glasses was talking to him without any concern that he was paying attention. He looked up from the last drops of his whiskey mournfully, as if it were the last whiskey available in the world, and caught Ronnie in a stare. It should have been awkward, should have made her blush, turn on heel, and clip off to the kitchen, but he seemed to derive so much pleasure from the eye contact that his mouth spread open into a wide, welcoming grin immediately, and hers did the same. The look on his face, his slight eye roll referring to the blonde, in that moment she knew that he would have the capacity to make her do stupid things. She put her wine glass down on the coffee table carelessly, without a coaster, a party grievance Aaron had warned her against, and walked boldly towards him. Ronnie wasn't generally shy, but in situations where she had to be on her best behavior because Aaron's job demanded it, she made careful exceptions to her generally animated personality. But for some reason, this man and his canapé seemed a safe bet. When he saw her approaching, he raised a hand to excuse himself from the angular blonde, gesturing in Ronnie's direction in a way that suggested they had met before. For some reason, Charlie thought to put his left hand in his pocket so Ronnie wouldn't see his wedding ring as she approached. Harmless, he thought. He had a few brief moments to lament the mustard stain on the left breast pocket of his beige long-sleeved shirt, a shirt that his wife had picked out for him that morning. "It's so good to see you again," he said to her at full volume. "Don't worry, I don't think she can hear you anymore," Ronnie said in a half-whisper, looking over his shoulder at the blonde. "She looks really fascinating." "That's Sarah. She's a wench and sort of my boss. I told her that you were an old friend," he said. "Well, maybe I will be." "Charlie," he said. "Ronnie," she said. "Ronnie? Veronica. That's pretty."